Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we've got another fantastic interview lined up with another great Bitcoin DeFi project, and we welcome the founder of Hermetica. So welcome, Jakob.
Hey, nice to
You're
be here.
you're in Panama at the moment. I love that there's people all over the world in different places and from different backgrounds in the Bitcoin DeFi space. So for people at home, do you want to maybe give us the quick rundown of your background and how you got into the world of crypto and Bitcoin DeFi?
Yeah, for sure. I'll keep it short, but I basically have always been an entrepreneur, always had the entrepreneurial spirit since I was like in my teens, and I spent my early career building businesses in the developing world. I had an eyeglass franchise that built out in West Africa and South America. Did that for a good 3, 4 years, and that really exposed me to a world that was growing up in Germany very different from what I know, and also realized that it was basically very difficult for those countries to get ahead because the currencies were still controlled by other countries.
Yeah.
And yeah, really exposed me to the reality that the financial system is not inclusive, to keep it short. And so when I came across Bitcoin 2016 timeframe, I really recognized pretty fast that this is technology that we can use to have a significant impact on the planet and the well-being of humanity. And so I really dropped everything at that point, similar to what you probably did. Got deep down the rabbit hole, meant I studied everything from cryptography to then got into mining, created a Bitcoin mining business, which was very educational, not very profitable
Yeah.
at the time. Obviously got into investing and trading, all those good things. Eventually ended up at Kraken, the digital assets exchange. Worked there for 2 years, and really, exposed me to the whole ecosystem across DeFi, NFTs, etc. And then learned about Stacks 2021. And when I always wanted to build on Bitcoin, but it was very difficult in the early days. I mean, still is, right? On big layer one, I built in with Lightning in 2019, which was great, but really you couldn't do that much. So when I learned about Stacks, I was like, wow, this is actually the technology that allows us to build actual DeFi and use smart contracts. So left my position at Kraken and then started Hermetica, and here we are, right?
Yeah, awesome. And we'll dive in specifically to Hermetica in a second, but I just maybe want to touch on what you said there about how it was previously hard to build on Bitcoin. So we have covered in our videos and research for people that Taproot upgrade and why it's becoming a bit more flexible and composable to build. But what about it maybe specifically for people at home was this, about stacks that enabled it, that saw your excitement, that said, hey, we can now do similar things to maybe what Ethereum's done or others with this interoperability. And yeah, what got you really excited?
Yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, if you look at the blockchain, right, it's a database that allows you to independently verify what is written to it. But there's a lot of nuance to it, right? If you look at the Bitcoin ecosystem and Bitcoin script, it's very limited by design, and it optimizes for security of a very specific use case, which is just sending and storing money. But it doesn't allow you to express what people call Turing complete smart contracts, which really just means more sophisticated programs are not able to be executed by the Bitcoin script language or the Bitcoin virtual machine.
Yeah.
And so you're very limited as a developer in that you can't really build anything. You can store things, you can make multi-sigs, you can send things around. Now with Lightning, you can send things around a little faster or a lot faster, but you can't write write programs that have a more complex logic. For example, for lending, for trading, right? For other primitives that you would need to actually express a full financial system
Yeah.
that has been built, with Ethereum, obviously, that came out, what was it, 2014, 15 timeframe, and really showed that you can do this on a blockchain. And most importantly, there's massive demand for this kind of infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
And so what Stacks brings is essentially the same capability of Ethereum, meaning it's not Turing complete, but it is a programming language that allows you to express basically the whole gamut of financial programs or services and it settles into Bitcoin. So you inherit the security of the most decentralized, safe settlement layer, which is Bitcoin, but you can also express smart contracts and more sophisticated programs through it.
Yeah.
That's the high level. There's a lot more nuance to it.
Yes, yeah, and we did do a deep dive into stacks as well, but I think that's a good explanation for people. Another thing I've been asking a lot of our guests is how they feel about the Maxi situation versus this Cambrian explosion and all this experimentation, and I think there's no winner take all in terms of Bitcoin projects and Bitcoin layer twos. You know, we've seen a dozen in the Ethereum space that are all doing well, so there's no reason that plenty can't do well. But as well as that, are you happy to sort of say, hey, we can learn from Ethereum or other L1s and take the best things and all that type of thing? Or do you still have close friends that are maxis, and sort of what's your position on all that space and some of the infighting we see?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I have close friends that are maxis. I think I know people that are maxis. But in general, I'm a technologist. I believe in innovation. I believe in constantly iterating and learning and becoming better. And I want to build stuff. And so, yes, I 100% learn from Ethereum. 100% learn from Solana. I learn from everybody because there's always things that people figure out that you might not have thought about, and you can learn from them and then integrate them into what you're doing.
Yeah,
I think that the maxi point of view is really, I think it doesn't really make it. How to say this? It's not very a technology focused or innovation focused view of the world. It is a very pure. It's a religion. It's a puritanic religion, in that it says that there is the unholy and then there's the holy, and that the holy have done everything right and they're pure, and the unholy have done everything wrong and they have to be punished or what, I don't know.
yeah,
Yelled at on Twitter.
yeah,
And fine. I mean, whatever. People can do what they want. I don't really care, to be honest. I think that it is not an environment that fosters innovation and flourishment of new ideas. And that at the end of the day is the human spirit. It is the spirit that brings prosperity to the globe. And so it's really a destructive mindset, in my opinion.
yeah,
I don't sit around and think about it much.
yeah,
Because I got stuff to do, but
yeah.
that's my view.
I think one thing that I'm learning, and I'd be interested to know if you agree with this, is that they can still have that Bitcoin maxi mindset on the base layer, and Bitcoin can still always be Bitcoin, and we can build all these other things on top of it or integrations with it, bridges and time lock contracts, and even if they are to break or whatnot, it doesn't change. Like Bitcoin security is not vulnerable just because people are trying to build things on the side. So we can still have Bitcoin's always going to be Bitcoin. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's a place and time for a mindset that wants to preserve the purity of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is very special in that also the way that it was created, it is very pure and very secure and very safe and has stood the test of time to some degree. And so I agree, we shouldn't change Bitcoin, and or if we do it, we should do it very carefully and deliberately. And my goal is not to change Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin as it is, but there's much more than just money that we need to create, and that's what we're doing.
Fantastic. So yeah, let's dive into what you're doing and Hermetica. Do you want to give people the overview, and we can maybe dive into some more specifics?
Yeah, 100%. So Hermetica is essentially what our goal is to bring institutional grade derivatives and infrastructure to Bitcoin. So that means we're building out a product suite. We can talk about our first products, but we're building out a product suite that essentially allows you to express the whole gamut of financial instruments or derivatives on Bitcoin. Our first product line is a set of vaults that allow you to execute specific trading strategies against your Bitcoin. So for example, you can take your Bitcoin, you can put it into our smart contracts, and we execute an exotic option strategy against that Bitcoin that generates yield over time. There's a number of different ones that we're bringing to market. The most interesting one for a lot of folks probably is our earn strategy that uses a knockout barrier option strategy to essentially harvest volatility. It makes money within a trading range,
Yeah.
And in the back test that we have run in the last 6 years, it made around 6.5% on an annualized basis.
Yeah.
So essentially, a strategy, you can put your Bitcoin in, not forget about it because you still want to watch it and you want to understand what's going on, but it's a steady, low risk, decent return strategy. And then there's a number of other strategies that we're bringing to market that can allow you to express, for example, if you want to go long volatility as a retail trader, you can do it, but it's pretty complex and requires a lot of knowledge and execution. And we automate that for you. So if you think that Bitcoin is going to have a big move, either up or down, you can execute that in another strategy. And then we have directional strategies that are bull and bear vaults, where you can essentially take a position on the market, but do that without the risk of getting liquidated.
Yeah.
So you're not actually taking on leverage. We use options, exotic options in the background that allow you to capture breakouts to the upside or the downside. That's the first set of strategies. There's a number of other strategies we're working on. For example, basis strategy or harvesting basis from futures.
Yeah.
Where you're essentially taking the funding rate from a futures contract and generate yield that way. We're working on that, and then a number of other projects or products that we want to bring to market that are not yet to be disclosed, but that we're working on in the background, all around derivatives infrastructure for Bitcoin, essentially.
Fantastic. Some of our audience will be pretty familiar with puts and calls and option strategies. Others won't. Is this something that's currently being done in a more centralized way, or these positions taken on centralized exchanges with maybe the long-term view as Bitcoin DeFi gets built out that this will all be fully decentralized, or where is it kind of on that spectrum on the back end?
Yeah, so our contracts work. Our contracts are obviously decentralized. So if you put your Bitcoin into the smart contract, we can't access the Bitcoin. How the vaults work is that the contract make a specific percentage, which, for example, for the earn strategy is 1% a month, available to the trader to execute the strategy. The beauty of options is that you can get a lot of bang for your buck, in that you don't have to use a lot of the money in order, like the premium of an option is pretty low in comparison to the notional value of the option, if that makes sense to folks.
Yeah.
And which is really beautiful, right? It's like built-in advanced risk management, essentially.
Yeah.
So the contract makes 1% of the vault balance available to the trader, and we execute that trade in the background with a market maker. These exotic options are not traded on centralized exchanges. Deribit is 80 to 90% of the volume.
Yeah.
But you can buy exotic options. They're just not liquid enough, and they're not listed. So you have to go through a market maker, which usually you would have to be a high net worth individual, an institution, say with 5 to 10 million in your portfolio to be able to access these kinds of trades. We're able to do that because we're pooling the money. So we're essentially giving folks access to sophisticated trading strategies that they otherwise wouldn't be able to execute. And we automate that. And it's non-custodial.
Yeah, exactly. That was my final point. It's kind of bringing that traditional financial world to people with their own keys, their own custody, and they're in control without having to. I'm not sure if you have KYC and stuff like that, or if it's on that decentralized spectrum. So yeah, it's not jumping through all those hoops of proving you're an accredited investor or high net worth, which these strategies are normally only available to, as you say.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. And we also, so I built these vaults to some degree for myself. I want to use them myself. And so we have built them in a way that we can essentially lose access to all the admin keys, lose access. We can completely get hacked as a company, and the vault balance would still be there and can be withdrawn.
Yeah.
So they're autonomous in the best way you can have in DeFi, what we call fully non-custodial.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of half-baked DeFi in the market, especially in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So what stage are you guys at now in terms of test nets and what you've got up and running? Can people have a play around? You've done, or in the process of raising, which is going really well at the moment. Do you want to maybe talk about what stage you're at?
Yeah, for sure. So we are going through an audit in the next couple of weeks for our mainnet contracts, which should go live before the halving. So in the next, call it 2 months, maybe a little earlier. And then we'll be live on mainnet we're rolling out strategies step by step. We're probably going to go live with the earn strategy. For Bitcoin, we're also looking at staked stacks strategy, where we essentially the vault takes staked stacks, liquid staked stacks, and then invests only the rewards into a option strategy. Yeah. So essentially, if the option strategy loses every single epoch, you would still get your stacks back. Yeah. But only the reward from the staking is invested. That's going to go live in the next 2 months. We're fundraising. That's always a process that's going on. Testnet is live, but we kind of have retired that for the moment because we're going to be on mainnet very soon and are focusing our attention there.
Fantastic. What's your position on tokens? You guys are building on the Stacks network, and we've spoken to projects that aren't planning on having a token, and that's obviously just bullish for Bitcoin, allowing further utility for Bitcoin itself or for Stacks Bitcoin in the Stacks ecosystem. So where do you fall on that spectrum? Do you see you guys maybe having a token in future, and what would that use case be? Or are you happy just to help develop for the Stacks token and for Bitcoin itself?
Yeah, I think that having a token is a very hot topic. There's a lot of ways to look at it. I see tokens as a new form of capital formation to some degree, and a way to like really distribute governance. So it does make sense in instances where you can actually use the token governance structure to make the projects better and stronger. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of nuance there, and it has to be done right and really thought through in terms of tokenomics. But in general, it is part of our industry, and it is a primitive that has a lot of positives. There's negatives that come with it as well. I think that you have to go into it with open eyes. So we're still actively looking at the pros and cons. Let's say it like this. There's no clear roadmap for it. Yeah, but it's certainly there. And in general, I think a positive development for the industry to be able to create a vehicle for capital formation that is outside of general stock market.
Absolutely. Another question I've been asking, I guess, recently is, are there any other projects or just concepts in general that they're really excited about coming to Bitcoin DeFi, or maybe just the future of Bitcoin in general, or what are things on your radar or excite you?
I mean, I'm very excited about ordinals on actual layer one. I think that NFTs are obviously a very important primitive in general for a financial system because most assets are non-fungible. Obviously, in the first instance, they're like usually like monkey pictures. Yeah, which is cool. It's fun. Yeah, but it's not necessarily the end state of it. Yeah, there is a lot of excitement around ordinals and a lot of trading volume. I think in December last year, the trading volume for ordinals was higher than Ethereum and Solana NFTs combined. Mm-hmm. So it's certainly not like a little niche element of the NFT world anymore. It is the dominant NFT ecosystem at the moment, which is very exciting because also a lot of the wallets that support ordinals like Ledger, like Xverse, are Stacks-enabled wallets. So all these hundreds of thousands of people that are downloading these wallets to trade their ordinals or buy ordinals have already the infrastructure set up to use Stacks DeFi projects like ourselves. Yes, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, and then there's all the ordinal NFT DeFi that is being built out. For example, Liquidium is, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're a lending platform. Yeah, very cool project, very cool team. So yeah, that's what I'm paying attention to.
Fantastic. When you see the base chain get clogged up and fees skyrocket when ordinals and that take off, do you envision it's similar to, say, Ethereum, where we'll get more NFT trading on layer twos and that type of thing in future, or how do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think that the natural evolution of any trading on layer one is to become extremely high value and then eventually go to layer two. I think that there is no way around that. There is just no engineering perspective that allows you to think that Bitcoin layer one scales. I don't see it. It doesn't scale. Yeah. And that's by design, right? And it's not supposed to scale. And that means it has to scale by pricing, right? It has to scale through pricing, meaning it can only settle the most expensive or the most highest paying transactions that come through the node, through the mempool. And so, yeah, there's going to be ordinals that are very high value, and folks will want to trade them on layer one. And then the rest, the long tail of assets, will have to go to layer two. And and there's going to be a multitude of options for layer two, as they're all coming online right now.
Yeah, just like we've seen in the ETH space, even some of that volume can go to centralized exchanges as well as dexes, and it's just that settlement per se that becomes expensive to happen on chain that you've mentioned there.
Yes. And we need it to be expensive, right? We need layer one to be expensive, so actually we have the security budget for the miners. And so this whole notion of saying that it's bad that we have so many transactions and fees are going up is, in my opinion, backwards. I think it's fantastic because it means that we have a secure base layer in the future.
Yeah, and protects from spam and all those other benefits as well. Any final thoughts on anything we haven't touched on today that you want to share with the audience or anything?
No, I mean, come check us out at Hermetica.fi. Follow us on Twitter at HermeticaFI. And shoot us a message if you want to learn more or want to chat. And that's really it. Get into Stacks DeFi. There's a lot of cool projects coming online, I think, in the next couple of months. It's going to be a really fun time.
Yeah, we'll put all those links in the description down below to follow Jakob and the Hermetica team. And we've been very lucky to build that relationship with Gordon, who's handballing us all these great projects, such early stage. So we'll probably cover you guys again in future and do a bit of a walkthrough or something on YouTube once it's all live. So Jakob, really appreciate your time today. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
See ya.